everybody. Welcome to the National Real Estate Post. Frank Array with you this time, along with our great friend, Barry Habib. We'll make a mention here. Just guys, don't forget to check out That Broker Show by REMN Wholesale. A lot of great stuff there. Happens every single week. The logo is right on your screen. You can click that logo right down below or over on your right. And the nice thing is there's a story in there, and there's always marketing material to go with it. So you can listen to the story and then make use of that marketing material on your social sites to try and drum up some business. So That Broker Show, don't forget to check it out.
Hey, it's great to be here with you.
It's great to have you back again, as always. As always, I think there's some stuff we got to get cleared up out there, though. I mean, there's a lot of stuff going on in the news, as usual, that can be very misleading and confusing to the consumers out there. There's news about inventory, news about affordability that, is, not necessarily what the truth is. And we want to get you on here because you have such a great way of laying out, how these things should be looked at and what the truth really is. So let's tackle those items. Let's talk about inventory.
Okay, yeah, I'm glad you brought up both. So inventory is something that has moved up a little bit. And then when we take a look, it's something that the media likes to focus on is the month's supply of homes. And that is a very volatile number because what it does is it takes the amount of inventory and divides it by the pace of sales, and that gives you your month's supply. But what this unfortunately doesn't contemplate is something very important, and it is the mix of the types of inventory. And oftentimes if you have invested in stocks, we know that the stock market it's really more a market of stocks, or certainly sectors. You've got your healthcare sector, your energy sector, your technology sector, dividend paying value. There's so many different sectors, right? And we have to almost look at the housing market the same way, and yet the media fails to recognize that. So when you look at an overall number of the inventory supply, it's saying it's going up, but where is it going up? It's going up in the areas that are over $1 million, over $750,000. Where is there still an enormous lack of inventory? Under $500,000. So it's a misleading number to say, okay, the month supply ticked up by 1/10 of a month or something like that. Yeah. It's inventory is going up. Well, it's really not going up where it's needed the most, and sales that are on the upper end. And really that's where builders are building as well. We just had a discussion about this, you and I. We talked about the fact that, you brought up a great example where you said, when you investigate this, and you always do such great investigation and research on this, you said you take the cost of the lot, then you take all the soft costs involved, and you rattled off so many to me. Go ahead and rattle them off, right?
Oh yeah, your building permits, your impact fees, and there's not only impact fees with the city and the county and the schools, but there's impact fees with your water, your sewer, your PG&E, your public works, right? You name it. It's the amount of money that you have to spend before you even buy a 2x4 to build a house is absolutely insane. It's absurd.
Yeah, you told me you could be into that pretty easily, depending on the cost of the land, for, let's just say $250,000. Easily, right? And now a 2,000 square foot home, we're not talking a McMansion here, a 2,000 square foot home. If you built something like that, just like a little 2-bedroom, maybe, you're talking about, I don't know, if it's just reasonably built, between $150 or $100 a square foot. I don't know exactly. I'm not a builder, but I don't think that that's out of the realm of where a reasonable priced home would look at with reasonable amenities. You're talking about something in the range of, $400,000, $500,000 plus, and heaven forbid if you want to make money, right? You're supposed to make a profit.
Right.
And this is why once some discovery is made to this, we see the conundrum, we see the problem that we have with this. So when we look at homes that are on the inventory side, and people say, well, the housing market isn't going to be benefiting any longer from these levels of appreciation. There's a crash that's imminent because we see inventory building now. They're not looking at the right metrics, and the inventory that we really need isn't coming to the market because, as you just talked about, it's very expensive to build on that lower scale. So, unless we get some sort of government relief to help builders build, to maybe have some of those costs mitigated.
Yeah.
I don't know. Okay, it's not an easy solution. Okay, so I don't want to pretend that this is an easy one.
No.
But the other one you mentioned as well was affordability, right?
Right.
So when we look at and it ties in beautifully. So you structured this perfect because it ties in great, because the big headline that came out last week was the affordability levels are not going to be sustainable, and the market is clearly in a bubble due to the fact that the median home price has risen year over year now by 24%. And I know that that's a big headline, and then they combine that with hourly earnings, which are up 4%, and people say, well, it's certainly not affordable anymore. The thing that we have to look at, and you know this, is that median home price is not appreciation. If you look up the textbook definition, median means it's the midpoint, which means that the amount of sales that transpired above that median home price and below that median home price are equal. So an equal amount above and below. So that's the midpoint of sales price. We know there's no inventory on the lower end. Sales are down by 30% there. They're up 200% over $1 million.
Yeah.
180% over 750,000. So those are the available inventory. Sales are transpiring there. It is skewing the number. Now, that's not to mitigate the fact or minimize the fact that appreciation is very robust, a little more robust than I'd like to see, but it's not 24%, it's 13%. Now, when you compare that with hourly earnings, it appears to be a big disconnect. But there are shift changes with hourly earnings. You can work more hours. And how about the people? We can't find workers today, right? So what are you doing? You're paying your employees more hours, overtime, time and a half, double time, things like that. Because of that, hourly earnings are up 4%, but that isn't the real number to look at. You want to know how much people are making? Look at weekly earnings. That encompasses all those things. Weekly earnings are up 7.2%. So let's call it 7% year over year. Now, that's certainly not a 13% gain, but we've never been in that position where income needs to keep up with it, because you don't use all your income to make your mortgage payment. You use, remember, mortgage payment meaning principal and interest.
Sure.
You use 20% of it, maybe a little less, maybe a little bit more. On average, Fannie and Freddie say it's 19%. So let's just say it's around 20%. So that means, think about this, if appreciation on a home, if interest rates stay the same, is 13%, then a payment would have gone up by 13% year over year. But because you're only using 1/5 of your income would have only had to have gone up 1/5 of that, or 2.6%, to keep up with 13% appreciation. And I know this is an oversimplification. I'm just doing this to try and give you conceptuals here. But with incomes going up really at 7%, we're not in a position where 13% appreciation, so long as interest rates remain stable, would cause any kind of turbulence in the marketplace. So it's still affordable. There are a lot of things about the housing market that I'd rather see. I'd rather see slower levels of appreciation. I'd rather see more inventory. I don't like to see all these bid over asks. But overall, the housing market is not in a bubble. That's not to say, and you and I have talked about this, that someone might not make a good decision and put themselves in their own housing bubble.
Right.
You have a house that's a $400,000 value. The seller's putting it up for whatever they can get. They put it up at $450,000, so they're already putting up at $50,000 more than it's worth. And somebody comes along and pays $525,000 in a bidding war. Might not be the best decision, and they might find themselves in a housing bubble that they put themselves into on that home, as opposed to the overall market.
Yeah. So with all this in mind, here we are halfway through the year. How do you feel about the last half of the year? I mean, everybody looks to you for rates too. So like, how do you feel about the last half of the year? You feel we're in a pretty good spot?
I think the rates are going to be good. I think we could see interest rates move up a little bit, just because inflation is going to be sticking around a little bit more. The Fed's not going to slow down their purchases probably for a while, although I'd watch August 26th, 27th, and 28th, because that is going to be the Jackson Hole meeting. It's been my experience that they tend to do policy changes there. They're being pressured now to say, hey, look at housing, because they don't understand it. Housing is going to be in a bubble. You're contributing to this by buying mortgage-backed securities in the large amounts. So they might announce a taper, and the sacrificial lamb could be their purchases of mortgage-backed securities. Now, they won't announce the change at the end of August and then implement it. They'll announce it, let the market prep for it. So could it be September, October, November, December, or January before they start slowing their purchases? Remember, not selling mortgage-backed securities. They just aren't going to be buying as much. However, that could cause some turbulence in the market and cause rates to rise a little bit. Not crazy, but it could rise a little bit. So be on the lookout for that. But the housing market's going to stay strong. It's going to be challenging. It's going to stay strong. And really, you need to just elevate your role as an advisor through all of this. That's the most important thing, because your customers are going to need you now more than ever. It's not an easy market to navigate.
Awesome stuff. I think we'll just leave it at that. Great stuff, Barry. Always appreciate your insights, man. You guys look out. I guess it's going to be toward the end of August that there
Oh,
might
can I
be
say
some.
one
Oh
other
yeah,
thing?
sure, of course.
One other thing that really a focus that you have to, debt levels of individuals are high. And remember all this appreciation that we've seen, 13% year over year plus amortization. Pretty much anybody who's had a deal last year with MI may be a candidate to refinance to get out of it. Or people that have debt, and everybody does, may find themselves with a lot of equity that they could use to pay that debt off, reduce their overall monthly payments, take that extra money, put it into their mortgage and accelerate the payments and really, really create some wealth for themselves down the road.
Good stuff. And again, as an advisor, you can help them with that.
Exactly.
So, and to become an advisor, absolutely, you got to get in touch with Barry and MBS Highway. And the way we can do that, guys, is I'll put a link down below. Go ahead and click there. And from there, those guys will take you and become a certified mortgage advisor and all that great stuff that Barry has to offer over there. So I'll put the link down below for MBS Highway. If you're not a member of MBS Highway yet, you need to be. So Barry, thanks for being on the show, man. It's always so great to get your information. You guys do us a favor, leave us your comments down below, forward, share, and subscribe. And we'll catch you guys later here at the National Real Estate Post.